Admiral Kim Soo-jin walked slowly through the corridors of the space station, orbiting Earth. Her boots made soft clicking sounds on the metal floor as she moved toward the communication center. The message had arrived 3 hours ago, and she was still trying to understand what it meant for humanity. The communication center was busy with technicians working at their computers. Captain Park Min-ho stood near the main screen, his face serious as he studied the alien symbols floating in the air. When he saw the Admiral approaching, he straightened up and saluted. "Ma'am, we have finished translating the message," he said. Quietly, "You're not going to like what we found." Soo-jin stopped in front of the holographic display. The symbols were beautiful in their own way, but their meaning was troubling. She had read the translation 5 times already, but each time it seemed more dangerous. "Show me again," she ordered. The screen changed to show words in English. The message was from something called the Galactic Council, a group of alien species that claimed to rule most of the galaxy. They were inviting Earth to join them, but there was a price to pay first. "Every new species must prove they care about peace," Min-ho read aloud. "You must respond to a distress signal from the Kethmori system. Ancient enemies called the Devourers are attacking them. Help save the Kethmori, and you will be welcome in our council." Lieutenant Hanju looked up from her computer. "Admiral, I've been studying the data they sent about these Devourers. The information is strange. It talks about them like they're some kind of natural disaster, but the energy readings don't match anything we know." Soo-jin rubbed her temples. Something felt wrong about this whole situation.
What do we know about the Kethmori?
"They're an aquatic species," said Commander Lee Da-yoon as she joined the group. "They live in underwater cities on ocean worlds. According to the Council's files, they're peaceful traders who have never hurt anyone. Their technology is advanced, but they don't have strong military forces, and the Devourers." Da-yoon's expression grew dark. "That's where it gets interesting. The Council's files say they're an ancient threat that appears every few hundred years. Attack random systems, destroy everything, then disappear. But Admiral, I've been checking the historical records they sent us. What did you find? The pattern is too regular. Every time the Devourers attack, it's always when a new species is being tested for Council membership. And every time, the new species fights them alone, while the Council watches from far away." The room became very quiet. Soo-jin felt a cold feeling in her stomach. "You think this is not really a test?" "I think it's a way to get rid of species they don't want," Da-yoon said carefully. "Or maybe a way to weaken new species before they join the Council." Captain Park Min-ho pointed at the star map on the wall. "The Kethmori system is 3 weeks away at our fastest speed. If we're going to help them, we need to leave soon." "How many ships can we send?" Soo-jin asked. "We have 12 warships." "Ready for deep space travel," said Lieutenant Colonel Yuteya as he entered the room. "Plus support vessels and medical ships, maybe 30 ships total. Against an enemy that can destroy entire star systems?" Hanju shook her head. "Admiral, this feels like a trap." Soo-jin walked to the window and looked down at Earth. The blue and green planet looked so peaceful from space. Millions of people lived down there, going about their daily lives without knowing that their future might depend on what happened in a distant star system. "What if it's not a trap?" she said slowly. "What if the Kethmori really need our help? What if we're the only ones who can save them? Then we'll probably die trying," Min-ho said honestly. "But that's never stopped humans before." The Admiral turned back to face her officers. These were good people, experienced soldiers who had served Earth well. They deserved to know the truth about what they might be facing. "I think Commander Lee is right," she said. "I think the Council is using us. They want to see if we'll fight their ancient enemy for them, and they don't care if we all die in the process." "So what do we do?" asked Dadash. Eun. Soo-jin looked at each of them in turn. "We go anyway, not because the Council wants us to, but because the Kethmori need help. If we don't go, an entire species might be destroyed. I can't live with that. If it is a trap," Yutehayan asked. "Then we spring it," the Admiral said with a grim smile. "But we do it our way. Prepare the fleet for departure. We leave for the Kethmori system in 6 hours." As her officers hurried to carry out her orders, Soo-jin remained at the window. Earth looked so small and fragile from up here. Soon she would be taking humanity's best ships and bravest people into the unknown. She just hoped they would be strong enough for what was coming. The test was about to begin. But Sujin suspected that humanity was not the only species being tested. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kethmori system, and Admiral Kim Sujin immediately knew something was terribly wrong. Where the outer planets should have been, there was only empty space. Not debris from destroyed worlds, not asteroids or dust clouds, but complete emptiness, as if the planets had never existed at all. "Captain Park, report," she ordered. Her voice steady despite the fear growing in her chest. Park Min-ho stood at the sensor station, his face pale as he read the displays. "Admiral, I'm not detecting any trace of the outer 3 planets. No debris, no radiation signature, nothing. It's like they were completely erased from existence." Lieutenant Han Ju-woo looked up from her communications panel. "Ma'am, I'm receiving distress signals from the inner system. The Kethmori are still alive, but barely. Their messages are difficult to listen to." "Put it through," Sujin commanded. The bridge speakers crackled to life with sounds that made the human crew shiver. The Kethmori voices were like water, flowing over stones but filled with terror and desperation. The translation software struggled to keep up with their rapid speech. "Please, anyone who can hear this," the alien voice pleaded. "They're taking our worlds piece by piece. Our children swim in the deep places, but the water boils when the harvesters come. We have tried to fight, but our weapons do nothing. Please help us." Commander Lee Do-yoon pointed at the main screen. "Admiral, look at this." The display showed the inner system where massive mechanical structures moved between the remaining planets like hungry predators. Each one was the size of a city, covered in strange towers and spinning rings that glowed with unnatural light. As they watched, one of the machines extended a beam toward a planet's surface. "What are they doing?" asked Lieutenant Colonel Yu Tae-han. "They're harvesting," said Han Ju-woo, her voice barely a whisper. "Look at the planet's mass readings. It's decreasing." The humans watched in horror as the planet slowly shrank. The machine was not just attacking the surface, but somehow consuming the entire world bit by bit. The ocean cities of the Kethmori flickered like dying lights as their world literally disappeared beneath them. "All ships, battle stations," Sujin ordered, "we're going in." The human fleet moved toward the inner system, their weapons charging and shields at maximum power. Captain Park Min-ho took command of the fighter squadrons, leading them in a desperate attempt to draw the Devourers away from the dying planet. "This is Eagle Squadron." Park's voice came through the communications. "We're engaging the nearest harvester. These things are huge, but they have weak points where the energy beams emerge." The first wave of human fighters attacked the mechanical giant. Their weapons lit up the darkness of space, striking the alien machine with everything they had. For a moment, it seemed like they might succeed. The harvester's beam flickered and stopped, giving the Kethmori a brief respite. But then the machine began to change. Its surface shifted and flowed like liquid metal, adapting to the human attack. When the fighters struck again, their weapons had no effect. The harvester's beam resumed stronger than before. "It's learning," Do-yoon said with growing alarm. "The machine is adapting to our tactics." More harvesters turned their attention to the human fleet. The space around the dying planet became a battlefield as Earth's ships fought against enemies that seemed to learn from every attack. The humans tried different weapons, different approaches, but each time the Devourers adapted faster than before. "We're losing ships," reported Yu Tae-han. "The destroyer Seoul is badly damaged. The cruiser Busan is not responding to communications." Through it all, the Kethmori continued their desperate broadcasts. The translation software now carried the voices of individuals, not just official government messages. A mother calling for her children, a soldier reporting that his unit was trapped in a flooding city, an elder begging the humans to save themselves. "When friends," came a new voice, clearer and calmer than the others. "I am Elder Velthara of the Deep Cities. We have watched your brave attack, and we are grateful. But you must understand, these Devourers have destroyed civilizations much older and stronger than ours. They have weapons and knowledge from the beginning of time." Admiral Sujin opened a communication channel to the elder. "We're not leaving," she said firmly. "We came here to help you, and that's what we're going to do." You are noble, the elder replied. But you are few, and they are many. Even now, I can see more of their ships approaching from the darkness beyond our system. They come in numbers that would block out the stars. Sujin looked at the tactical display. The elder was right. Massive energy signatures were approaching from the edge of the system. Dozens of harvester ships moving toward them like a metal tide. Her small fleet had barely managed to slow down 3 of them. Admiral, said Hanjuwu quietly, I'm receiving a message from the Galactic Council. They're asking for a status report. Tell them we need immediate reinforcement, Sujin ordered. All available ships, all available firepower. If they want us to save the Kethmori, they need to help us do it. As the message was sent, Sujin watched the approaching enemy fleet. Somewhere in the back of her mind, she began to suspect that no help was coming. The Council had sent humanity to fight an ancient enemy alone. They were about to discover just how deadly that enemy could be. The test was becoming a nightmare, and it was only just beginning. 3 days had passed since. The human fleet began fighting the Devourers, and Admiral Kim Sujin was running out of options. Half her ships were damaged or destroyed, and the enemy kept sending more harvesters from the darkness beyond the system.
Ow!
The Kethmori planet was now half its original size, and the underwater cities were failing one by one. Admiral, we have... A response from the Galactic Council, said Lieutenant Han Ji-woo. But her voice carried no hope. The main screen flickered to life, showing a creature that looked like a giant octopus wearing fancy robes. Its tentacles moved in patterns that the translation software said meant importance and authority. This was Ambassador Kelthera of the Veltari, one of the oldest species in the Council. Greetings, Admiral Kim, the alien said in a voice that sounded bored. Council has received your request for military assistance. We are pleased to hear that humanity is taking this test seriously. Sujin's voice was sharp with anger. Ambassador, entire worlds are being destroyed. We need ships, weapons, anything you can send. The Kethmori are dying. The Veltari's tentacles writhed in what humans had learned was the alien equivalent of a shrug. The Council understands your concern. However, we must conduct proper strategic assessments before committing resources. These decisions cannot be made hastily. How long will these assessments take? Demanded Commander Lee Dayun. Such things require time, perhaps several weeks, maybe months. The Council must consider all possibilities before acting, Captain Park. Minho stepped forward, his face red with fury. Months. In months, there won't be anything left to save. That is the nature of the test, the ambassador replied calmly. New species must prove they can handle galactic responsibilities without constant assistance from more experienced civilizations. The transmission ended, leaving the human bridge in stunned silence. Sujin felt something cold settle in her stomach. This was not about helping the Kethmori at all. This was about watching humanity die trying. Ma'am, said Lieutenant Colonel Utehai quietly, I have reports from our allies. The Altarian fleet that promised to help us has turned around and gone home. They claim engine problems. In the Zarian Republic, they say their ships are needed for border patrol. Something about pirates in their home system. Han Ji-woo checked her communications panel. Admiral, I'm showing cancellations from 6 more species. They all have different excuses, but they're all leaving. Sujin walked to the window and looked out at the battle raging around the dying planet. Human ships fought desperately against the mechanical monsters, but for every devourer they damaged, 2 more appeared. The mathematics were simple and terrible. They could not win, ma'am, said a new voice. Communications Officer Kim Dae-ho had just arrived on the bridge carrying a secure message pad. This just came in from Earth Command. It's marked urgent. Sujin read the message quickly, then read it again more slowly. Her expression grew darker with each word. What does it say? Asked Dayun. Earth Command has been in contact with other species who have taken this test before. It seems that sending new species to fight the Devourers is standard practice. Most species send a small force, fight for a few days, then retreat when the situation becomes hopeless. And the Galactic Council accepts this? They expect it. The test is not about saving the Kethmori. It's about seeing how much punishment a new species can take before they give up. Park Min-ho slammed his fist on the console. So we're supposed to just leave? Let an entire civilization die so we can join their club. Before Sujin could answer, the communications system activated again. This time the voice was different. It was Elder Valthara, the Kethmori leader they had spoken with before. Human friends, the elder said, her watery voice filled with sadness. We have been monitoring your communications with the Galactic Council. You understand now why you are here alone, Elder. We're not giving up, Sujin said firmly. You must, the elder replied. We have lived for thousands of years beneath our oceans. We have seen many species come and go. The Council has done this before, to others like us. They send new species to fight the Devourers, knowing they will fail. It is how they keep the younger races weak and dependent. What happened to the other species who were tested? Some retreated early and were allowed to join the Council as junior members. Others fought until the end and were destroyed completely. A few managed to save. Small numbers of our people, but never enough to matter. The elder's image flickered as another harvester beam struck near her city. You have shown more courage than species 10 times your age. You have given us hope in our final days. But you must save yourselves now. Do not let our extinction become yours as well. Sujin looked around the bridge at her officers. These were good people who had followed her into an impossible situation. They deserved to go home to their families. They deserved to live. But as she watched the Kethmori cities dying one by one, she realized that some things were more important than survival. Some things were worth fighting for, even when no one else would help. Open a channel to Earth. She ordered, maximum priority. I need to speak with General Choi immediately. Admiral asked Dayun uncertainly. The Council wants to see what humanity is made of, Sujin said, her voice growing hard. Let's show them. General Choi Hoyanwoo was having his morning coffee in the underground command center when the priority message from Admiral Kim Sujin arrived. The transmission was scratchy and filled with static, but her words came through clearly enough to make him put down his cup and lean forward. General, the Galactic Council has abandoned us. Sujin's voice crackled through the speakers. Every species that promised to help has found excuses to leave. We're alone out here, facing an enemy that destroys entire worlds. The Kethmori are dying, and we can't save them with what we have. The general looked around the command center at his staff officers. They had all stopped their work to listen to the message. Some looked angry, others worried, but all of them were waiting for his response. What do you need? He asked simply. Everything, came the reply. Ships, weapons, supplies, people, everything we can send. The Devourers are not just machines, General. They're something worse. They learn from every attack, adapt to every strategy. We need numbers, and we need them now. Hyen-woo stood up slowly. In his 30 years of military service, he had never received a request like this. The Admiral was asking him to send Earth's entire military force to a battle they might not win. In a star system most humans had never heard of. How long do we have? He asked. Days, maybe hours. The enemy reinforcements keep coming, and our ships are breaking down. General, if we don't get help soon, there won't be anything left to save. The general looked at his senior staff. Colonel Park Jae-sung stepped forward first. Sir, we can have the reserve fleets ready to launch in 6 hours. Every ship we have. That's not enough, said Admiral Kang Yoon-ji, who commanded the orbital defense forces. If we're going to do this, we need to do it properly. We need to move our entire space infrastructure to support a long-term campaign. What are you suggesting? Asked the general. We don't just send ships, Kang said, her eyes bright with a dangerous idea. We move everything. Shipyards, manufacturing facilities, mining operations. We turn the Kethmori system into a forward base for Earth's entire space program. Colonel Shin Dong-hook, who ran the orbital construction projects, nodded slowly. It's possible. Crazy, but possible. We have mobile shipyards that can be relocated. The asteroid mining platforms can be moved through hyperspace. We could literally transport our entire industrial capacity to the battle zone. And if we lose, asked General Choi. Then we lose fighting for something that matters, replied Commander Nam Hae-jin from the Engineering Corps. Sir, the Admiral is right. If we don't help the Kethmori, who will? The Council has already shown their cowards who use younger species as disposable soldiers. The General walked to the large screen showing Earth's orbital infrastructure. Hundreds of stations, shipyards, and platforms moved in careful patterns around the planet. It was the result of decades of human engineering and determination. Moving all of this to an alien star system was beyond ambitious. It was insane. Begin Operation Exodus, he ordered. All fleets, all reserves, all available vessels. We're not just sending reinforcements. We're relocating Earth's entire space-based civilization to the Kethmori system. The command center exploded into activity. Officers rushed to their stations, sending orders across the solar system. Within hours, the largest movement of human forces in history began. Admiral Kong Yunji took command of the first wave, leading every available warship toward the hyperspace jump points. Behind her came converted cargo vessels, refitted passenger ships, and even luxury cruise liners that had been hastily armed with whatever weapons could be found. This is Admiral Kong to all vessels, she broadcast as the fleet prepared to jump. We're going to save a species that most of us have never met, in a star system we've never seen. We're doing this because it's right, and because no one else will make Earth proud. The jump to hyperspace was spectacular. Hundreds of ships disappeared in flashes of light, heading toward a battle that would determine the fate of two civilizations. Captain Shin Dong-hyuk followed with the industrial convoy. Massive orbital shipyards, each the size of a small city, moved slowly through space toward the jump points. Mobile manufacturing plants, asteroid processors, and fuel refineries joined the procession. Control, this is Captain Shin, he reported. We're bringing the entire Titan shipyard complex through hyperspace. Construction will continue during transit. We should have new warships ready by the time we arrive. Commander Nam Haijin coordinated the support operations. Medical stations, supply depots, and communication arrays all joined the exodus. Even the military academy was being prepared for relocation. If we're going to make a stand, she told her engineering teams, we're going to do it with everything we have. No half measures, no reserves held back. Earth is going to war. As the hours passed, more and more of Earth's space-based infrastructure departed for the Kethmori system. The planet's orbital space, normally crowded with human activity, began to look empty and quiet. General Choi stood at the observation deck, watching the last of the military transports disappear into hyperspace. His aide, Major Kim Harim, approached with a final report. Sir, the operation is complete. We've sent everything we can spare and most of what we couldn't. Earth's orbital defenses are at minimum levels, and if the Devourers come here, we'll fight them here too, she replied simply. But Admiral Sujin was right. If we don't stop them at Kethmori, they'll eventually come for us anyway. The general nodded. Earth had made its choice. Now they would see if humanity's greatest gamble would pay off. Engineer Major Kim Harim crawled through the twisted corridors of the disabled Devourer Harvester, her helmet light cutting through the darkness. The alien machine had been crippled by a human torpedo strike, and now she had the chance to study it from the inside. What she found changed everything. Control, this is Major Kim, she whispered into her radio. You're not going to believe this? These things aren't just machines. They're alive. The walls around her pulsed with a sickly green light, and she could feel vibrations through her boots like a giant heartbeat. Strange organic tubes ran alongside mechanical cables, carrying fluids that glowed with their own light. The air inside smelled of metal and something else, something that reminded her of a hospital. Explain, Major, came Admiral Kim Sejin's voice through the static. It's like someone took a living creature and turned it into a machine, or maybe the other way around. The technology is fused with organic matter. That's why they adapt so quickly to our attacks. They're not just learning, they're evolving. Harim reached a chamber that looked like a brain made of crystal and metal. Thousands of thin wires connected to organic pods filled with glowing liquid. Inside each pod, she could see something that might have once been a living being, now transformed into part of the machine. Admiral, I think I know how to hurt them. If they're part organic, they might be vulnerable to biological weapons. Or if we can disrupt their neural networks from the inside. ... Can you do it? Give me a squad of Marines and some explosive charges. I think we can cascade a shutdown through their entire nervous system. 20 minutes later, Sergeant Lee Seungmin led his Marine squad into the Harvester's core. The men moved carefully through the alien corridors, their weapons ready for anything. The organic walls seemed to watch them as they passed, and strange sounds echoed from the darkness ahead. This place gives me the creeps, muttered Corporal Park Taejan. It's like we're walking inside a giant stomach.
Ow.
Stay focused, Seungmin ordered. We plant the charges in the neural center, then get out fast. Major Kim says the explosion should travel through their network and shut down the whole system. They reached the brain chamber, where thousands of organic pods pulsed with alien life. The Marines began placing their charges while Hiram worked. At a control panel that looked like it was grown rather than built. Almost ready, she reported. When this goes off, it should send a feedback pulse through every connected system. If we're lucky, it'll shut down not just this harvester, but any others linked to the same network. The charges detonated with a sound like breaking glass, mixed with a dying scream. The organic walls shuddered, and the green lights began to flicker and fade. Through the viewports, they could see the harvester's energy beam cutting out, giving the dying Kethmori planet a moment of relief. But more importantly, 2 other harvesters in the distance also stopped their attacks. Their lights dimmed, and they began to drift helplessly in space. It worked, breathed Sergeant Lee. We found their weakness. The discovery changed the entire battle. Admiral Sujin immediately ordered boarding actions against every damaged harvester they could find. Human Marines fought through the nightmare corridors of living machines, planting charges that would cascade failure through the Devourer's organic networks. Captain O. Seojun coordinated the final assault on the largest harvester, a massive entity that seemed to be commanding the others. His combined force of human Marines and Kethmori swimmers attacked from multiple directions, their different fighting styles complementing each other perfectly. The aquatic approach is working, he reported as Kethmori warriors flowed through flooded sections of the alien ship. Elder Velthera's people know how to fight in 3 dimensions. They're reaching areas we never could. Elder Velthara herself led a group of her best warriors through the Harvester's lower levels. The ancient Kethmori had lived through countless battles, but had never fought alongside aliens before. She found herself impressed by human determination and creativity. Human warriors, she spoke through the translation device. Your people fight with a fury we have never seen. You do not retreat, even when facing certain death. We don't leave friends behind, replied Marine Captain Jung Min-soo, as he helped clear a blocked passage. Your people are our people now. The combined assault reached the Harvester's core, where they found something that made even the veteran Marines pause. The center of the ship was occupied by a massive organic brain, easily the size of a building. Countless cables and tubes connected it to the rest of the ship, pulsing with information and life. This is the command center, Hiram realized. If we can take this out, we might shut down the entire Devourer fleet. The final battle was brutal. The brain entity defended itself with mechanical tentacles and energy weapons, while corrupted organic creatures attacked from hidden passages. But the humans and Kethmori fought as one, their combined technologies and tactics proving superior to ancient malevolence. When the brain finally died, its death scream echoed through space. Every Devourer in the system stopped moving, their lights fading as their connection to the command mind was severed. The battle was won. But more importantly, 2 species had found something worth fighting for together. As the human and Kethmori forces worked to repair the damaged planet, they built something new. Not just an alliance, but a true partnership between civilizations. When the Galactic Council finally sent a fleet to investigate, they found the Kethmori system transformed into a fortress of integrated technology. Admiral Sujin met them at the system's edge. The Devourers are gone, she reported, and we're staying here. Any species threatened by forces like this can find sanctuary with us. The galaxy had learned that humanity kept its promises, even when no one else would help.